So welcome back. What we're trying to do is to ensure that the budget filter is working as expected. So I made a couple of changes here and there. The first one is the index.html file. So what is happening here is to ensure that we're able to submit the respective handler accordingly to build a payload. So initially we weren't sending the budgeted amount as part of that particular construct. So as you can see from the screen here, this was the original payload we are sending. It did not have the budget amount, but this is what has been included in the new sort of payload that we are going to be sending. So it has a maximum price and it has a so-called budget. So that was one of the things that was done. And yeah, essentially we had budget in the UI, but it never made it into the requests. So that's the essence of this particular change. Okay. Another change we did to the index.html is to do with the extract hotel list. So essentially, the budget filtered lists for it to be rendered or not rendered. Okay, so if we don't have hotels which have come back based on the budget which has been defined by the customer, those hotels wouldn't be rendered on the GUI, on the front end. So this is what that change was all about, because before, irrespective of the budget, you're going to be getting hotels filtering through onto the GUI, and that's not what we wanted. We wanted a situation whereby to ensure that the GUI shows only under budget hotels or results when the server applied the filter. So the whole calculation and the whole logic is within the is on the agent lambda, the lambda, which is the budget agent lambda, and obviously the entry point is the handler in terms of the budget handler. So that's where the magic happens in relation to making sure that the customer gets the hotels that is based on their budget. All right, and so this particular change here is to make sure that we avoid accidentally rendering raw provider lists if the filter returned none. So we don't want the situation whereby the filter is returning none, but we're still rendering hotels which do not match the customer's expectation. So that's that one done. We made also changes to the MCP server code, which is held in another lambda. And what did we change there? It's essentially to enforce budget, so we don't fall back to raw hotels as well. So this is the MCP server. So we made some changes there. As you can see, we're basically invoking the budget function there, and we had the top hotel listing which is ranked, essentially the candidates around the top listing, and we're falling back to the raw listing in terms of the hotels there. So what we did here, we don't want any fallback at all. So we simply going to be reporting that we don't, whatever, we don't have any hotels based on it doesn't match your budget, etc. So this is essentially the new construct here in terms of what we did. And as I said before, if nothing was under budget, we quietly fall back to raw, which is over budget hotels, which is sort of confusing the UI. So that's what was there previously. But what the change we've done with this is to keep the results empty and narrate nothing under budget correct behavior. So that is essentially what is happening with this particular change, as you can see here. Okay, so in terms of the budget handler, we the whole idea here was to propagate the budget enforcement to pass the nightly rates accordingly based on the input from the customer or the payload from the customer from the front end, and to post the filter defensively. So these changes we applied to the Lambda handler in relation to budget. So before we were not reliably lifting the maximum stay price per night to the maximum price. So that was not working properly. Neither did we pass the price text like. So I think in some jurisdictions you could have comma rather than a decimal. So we had situations whereby this was not calculating properly in terms of what the values were being filtered through. Neither was it posting the filter in relation to correct JSON RPC shapes, and we had we were not returning the correct response if the results pass processing. So we made these changes accordingly. So you can see the changes which we've done, quite a chunk of code here. And what is happening here? So what the rationale behind this is to ensure that, the budget makes it in even if only provider is under the stay in terms of the number of nights. The nightly price is actually passed from various shapes. So hotels won't all look unpriced. Okay? So irrespective of the format of whether that be a comma or decimal, we're getting that properly. Another thing we did was, even if the agent missed something, the handler will enforce the budget on the way out. So it's sort of to create that robust passing. But this is not the main code per se. This is just the handler. So I'm going to show you the main code now. So the main code is like so. So this is the main code. This is the before in terms of the Lambda budget and after. Okay. So what is happening here? So this is the budget agent, and as you can see before, the num use the JS style.trim, but in terms of Python code, we have to use strip, and they didn't handle the comma decimals as I mentioned. So that's been sorted, and candidates could include all hotels, not just under budget. Okay, so these are basically the changes that we did. We made sure we had the correct variables listed, and we put some debugging as well. Okay, so what is happening here? We have the correct passing, More hotels get a valid nightly price, so we're being consistent in terms of the nightly price. We're only returning only under budget hotels, and we're keeping the UI and narration consistent. Okay, so that's one of the last changes we did. Okay, so we're going to just do like a quick check to make sure that this, what we are saying, is for real in terms of budgets and hotels and all whatnot. So we have Paris. Let's go to somewhere more exotic. Should we go to Tokyo? Let's do 10,000. Really? Strange. So that's Sydney. We put $10,000. We're getting hotels of 137 Australian dollars, hotels of $539 a night, $642 a night, $153 a night. And we can see that the LLM in relation to the narration responder is working very well. It says, I've found some great hotels options for your stay in Sydney from October 31st to November 3rd, 2025. The Ibis Sydney World Square and Ibis Sydney King Street Wharf and other budget-friendly choices with estimated price of 137 Australian dollars and 153 Australian US dollars, Australian dollars, sorry, per night respectively. For more upscale experiences, the Sydney Harbour Marriott Hotel at Circular Quay is available at 539 Australian dollars per night. All these options are well within your budget of 10,000 pounds. So I think what's happening is that if it's not the, depending on what country there's some sort of a mapping thing that needed to do, whereby if you selected like an European country, it's automatically to map to EU money or euros. But for Australia, I've not put that mapping thing there. So it's going to just default it to British pounds. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any hotels with indoor pools among the options provided. So as I said, mentioned previously, we're not getting any amenities coming with the responses we're getting from the Amadeus API. So it says, which I know has a preference for you. Despite this, these hotels offer good value and convenient locations in Sydney. So you can imagine the narrator is very is giving us some amazing feedback in relation to the choices which have been displayed. So you're spoiled for choice as to what you can pick. So I'm going to now put like a different money. I'm going to say put, let's say $30, and let's see what happens, whether we are going to get, whether our budget filter is working as expected. You see, I couldn't find suitable hotels yet. Try widening the area, adjusting dates, or increasing the nightly budget, and I'll search again. So let's try 50. So we'll just keep putting this up and seeing whether we get any difference, to see what is the minimum we can go for in terms of the options available. I couldn't find any. So let's go for 60. Australia seems to be quite an expensive place. God help us. I couldn't find any. Let's put 70. We'll keep increasing it to see. Neither. Let's do 80. No, sure. Let's move it up a notch to 100 Australian dollars. Neither. Let's put 150. This is beautiful. So it just came up with one. It says, I found a hotel option for your stay in Sydney from the 31st to November 3rd, 2025. The Ibis Sydney World Square is available within your budget of £150 a night, or whatever currency it is. This hotel is located in Sydney area and has an estimated price of 137 Australian dollars per night. Unfortunately, I don't have information about whether it has an indoor pool, which I know is a preference for you. While this hotel meets your budget requirements, please note that I don't have details about its amenities or star rating. If you like more options or specific information about indoor pools, let me know and I'll be happy to help further. Okay, that's interesting. So it shows you that the budget filtering it works, and it does really work. So this comes to the end of our sort of debugging episodes, which we've strung together, and we're going to be progressing with our other episodes accordingly, and we're going to be building this solution to be more resilient and be adding other features, etc., etc. Thank you.